What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Joy of Animating. I am your host and friend Skip Marazzi here for another behind the scenes podcast with Cox in Space. If you're interested in what we're doing on Cox in Space, you can always check us out at coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. And you can figure out what we're doing by clicking on any of the links. You can watch the clips that we have going on the first episode. You can watch the previous episodes that we have where we work with Jack Haynes, our illustrator, to get these pages made and drawn so you can verify that they are in fact made by people. Uh, and here's some of the great interviews that we had with some of our friends who came in for that time. We did that all over the last year, and now we're moving forward with the animation process of this project. So glad to have you here for this final stage of the animation as we've got it going on, and we're glad to have you join us. Now, when you're up there, you might notice that there is a Discord link on the bottom. You're more than welcome to jump on that Discord and come hang out with me while we're working on the animation here. So just click on that link and then follow it over to our Discord, and you can jump on the general chat with me and come hang out. Um, I love talking to most people. Some people I find completely unpleasant, and it's generally ones who have decided that they already know everything about the world. And so, if you're that type of person who has decided that you already know everything about the world, we may or may not get along. I might put up with you for a little while, and so you're welcome to come on if you want to and share. If you're another type of person, it's more common on the internet, unfortunately, who likes to just be rude to people you don't know for some reason. Um, we probably won't get along for very long either. But you're always welcome to come on and be rude for a little bit if that amuses you. I don't mind you um, being rude for a second or two. It's not that big of a deal to me. But I'll only put up with shenanigans for so long. Um, Funny how that is, right? Most times, when we meet people, and maybe this is not true. Maybe kids these days are just more rude in general. Maybe we've learned rudeness as a habit now. But you know, I was raised in the Southwest and have lived. I've lived up north in Chicago. I lived there for a little while, but have mostly lived most of my life back in the South, and I live in the South now, and spent the last decade in the South. And one of the things I enjoy about being down here, although there's a lot of racism and a lot of bigots down here in the South because of their religious beliefs. But one thing I do enjoy about being down here is just how people do strive to be polite, and that to me is a big deal. Even with their bigotry and even with their racism, for the most part, people do strive to be polite, and I do appreciate that quite a bit. Um, I have been told here, especially in Tennessee, where I'm at, that it's all for show, apparently, and it's not authentic. But I was told that by some pretty inauthentic people themselves, who mainly were do everything for show. So, a grain of salt with that one. But by and large, yeah, I think that I have met more people who are striving to be well mannered and to be polite than not, and I really do appreciate that. To me, that little bit of kindness to strangers shows a lot about who you are, um, and so that that I appreciate about that about being down here. And so yeah, that's that I do invite you to come along. Um, if you are that type of person who enjoys who is genuinely curious about the world and other people, that those are the type of people I enjoy having on the show. I find that they're easier to listen to and talk to, um, for that, and mainly this reason. Um, I've mentioned it before, but maybe this is your first podcast. I am a pretty unusual type of person. So, um, if you approach me thinking that I'm going to be a way that you've met before, you will generally be thrown. If you look at me and say, a cis hetero white male, because of my exterior, you will probably be very confused on a number of things, because you have some assumptions about what type of person that is, and you'll find out fairly quickly that it just ain't me. I I have spent my time among a lot of different communities for a lot of different reasons, and I've seen a large portions of the population, and for me, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fake it. I'm gonna put this thing right here. I'm gonna put that right here. So I'm gonna just balance out the stage, and then we're gonna ignore everything right there. Let's see how that works. Because I mean, okay, sorry to get off of the track here, but you know, this wall right here is a huge pain to patch in, and since I don't have it any other way, I think I'm gonna use this one instead. But yeah, so that's the case. Like if you think that if you know me, because you've met people who look like me, you're gonna be very confused when you find out quickly that, or you'll be uh, offended by things that have mean no offense, and you'll take things a certain way when I don't mean them that way, um, often. So it happens fairly frequently to me, which is why um, which is why I give you that caution. Not to excuse my behavior. If I did in fact offend you, if I do in fact offend you, for some way, if you mention it, I will definitely apologize and try to figure out where it was that the offense occurred, and try to figure out how to not do that anymore. Because I don't. I'm the type of person that if something if I even came across the wrong way, I want to quickly amend that and make that better. Now I have to be careful with that because there's some people who like to get offended so that they can have a bit of power in the dynamic, and so I have had to learn that as much as I can do, I do that. But if people are just playing games because they want the power dynamic, I really just have to put the kibosh on that, and we generally won't be friends for too much longer. And so that's unfortunate because I enjoy being friends with everybody as much as I possibly can. Because I'm the type of person who, if I can get along with you, then I will do everything that I can within my power to help you to succeed, to encourage you to exercise your free will, and for you to reach your own personal highest goals. And for me for that, I think that there's nothing greater than to encourage each other to reach for your highest goals. Now, funnily enough, that's actually offended some people, by me just encouraging people to reach their highest goals, in that they believe that I am being that I'm looking down on them because I'm asking them or I'm encouraging them to reach their highest potential. I have had people behave as if I think that I'm better than them because I am encouraging them to reach for being more than they are currently. Um, and that's not true. I definitely only want to be there, especially when people are looking for ways to be more than they are. Um, but also I can go the other way too. If people prefer to be in whatever state, to remain in whatever state that they're in when I find them, I'm also okay with that. Um, we might not get along for too much longer. We might not be able to hang out for too much longer if some people are in the state where they're like I mentioned before, not curious about other people, pretty self-indulgent, pretty self-centered, you know, and ask if they're making demands that they certain – I mean, this is gonna be tricky. – certain, 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 – certain,, – certain,, – certain,,, – certain,, – certain,,, – certain,, – certain,,, 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 – certain,, 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 – certain, um, that their immaturity be put up with, because there's a certain amount that I can recognize this, that I believe is fine, because it doesn't affect me. Like if people want to frivolously spend their money, or indulge in their favorite toxins, or whatever, for the most part, if that's not affecting me, or they want to mistreat people, in their private lives, that again has nothing to do with me. That's their business. I don't, that's something I'm concerned about. But when it does start affecting me, for instance, if you were, mistreating me, verbally or physically, or you were spending, you're overindulging in your substances, and then asking me to help pay for your things, or yeah, again, the mistreating, then I would have to be like, yeah, not not for me. Um, and people who think that they should be able to be allowed to do that get very offended, when because people who are abusive don't like being given boundaries, and they don't feel like they should give other people respect. They shouldn't respect other people. A lot of people, their maturity comes down to they think that they're the only ones who should be respected, and they don't feel like they should respect anybody else, which I think is silly. But you know, it is the way that it is. I gotta do this a different way. Um, oh, cool! I didn't know you could go back like that. That's cool. I did not know that. Um, because I need to cut out this spot in particular, so I'm gonna do this. Um, so yeah, again, people who want to live or believe, however they want to live or believe, again, as long as it's not really affecting me, I don't care. Although, when I see that it is, the things like the type of hate that kind of spills over to everybody, it's the part where I'm like, yeah, you know what, you are welcome to do that, but you need to do it somewhere else, and not around me. So. I get to hang out with some people, some old friends of mine, this weekend, my weekend, in the last couple of days, and I was reminded of that, just how people can be like casually hateful, and it kind of bummed me out. It reminded me about how I used to be too. It was kind of like the group and culture that I grew up in, and so for me, I was like, yeah, that's right. I remember being that way. I don't like it. I don't like being that way. I don't like treating people that way anymore. That I wish that the world wasn't like that. It was in a religious community, that I was in, um, and that's one of the reasons for me that I will mention to you on a regular basis, just the caution of being around religious people, and why I don't ascribe to one. And one of the conversations that came up was really interesting to me, because just casually they were talking about how there was this debate that broke out, as it does, about which version of the Bible was correct, the most correct. Give it, and by version I mean translation, because there's like, I don't know, like 30 of them or something. Uh, and I just reminded them that the um, the translation of that text, doesn't matter. The point of that text is not, you're not supposed to be worshiping the text. The text itself, as far as the religion is concerned, is to point you back to, the recognition of the being that is all over and through, like, all things, right? Um, and that's really the I mean, with every religion, any religion worth following, that's really the whole idea there too. Um, is that idea, that almost works. It's almost like it's too close. And this person, decided they didn't want to have the conversation about that, which is which is fine. That's theirs, because they are a person who likes to be. The reason the debate sprung up, I'm sure, was because of them. They felt like they were correct in their their favorite version of the Bible, and that's fine. Um, and they didn't necessarily want to hear that. Um, it's more it's more that um, if you're reading a text, a religious text, uh, or an academic text or whatever to be right, instead of to make the discoveries that exist there, then you're doing something wrong. And didn't want to necessarily hear that. I know what it is. Actually, I need to go back. I hope that I can go back to this. Oop. Yeah, this one. Um, there we go, and there we go. Okay, so, um, right, it's just, and I've had that conversation so many times. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I am no longer in religious communities, because to me, it's just, jeez, um, the the practice of, hmm, pay a little attention while I'm doing this. There we go. The practice of trying to prove yourself right about things, and not just do things for your own growth and improvement, um, is the part where wars break out. There's this division between people. It creates all this distance and separation, where it doesn't need to exist. The reason that there's a holy war going on, and the Zionists are trying to take back what they claim is their land, and they're killing a bunch of people. For instance, is because of this, right? Like who's more right? Whose text is more right? Um, and it just it's super dangerous, and for one, because of it, it causes wars, and it gives people justification to be terrible, and two, it creates a lot of unnecessary fighting, that that people get hurt over, mentally, emotionally, and certainly physically. I think is the big one in Gaza right now. People are physically getting killed over whose book is correct. Um, and uh, like humans, they will look for any reason to prove that they're right over somebody else, instead of, and I've said this so many times, but I'm going to say it again just in case this is your first time. But just instead of admitting that the universe is big and scary and complex, and there is no right solution in a lot of ways. There's some really good general guidelines and principles, but you know, there are no real absolutes beyond physics. And even in that, there's a there's a lot of little like gray areas in that, and the way things work. Um, you know, Gravity, for instance, right? Gravity, it might be something that people argue is an absolute, but gravity only functions the way that it does on this planet under these circumstances. Gravity is completely negated, and not that way as soon as you leave the planetary orbit. The pull of Earth itself. Um, People have, and since space and time are wound into each other, it's the same thing with time. Time behaves very, very differently once it stops having the pull of gravity on it. So once you get outside the pull of gravity, there time starts to behave in all sorts of weird ways, stretches and warps, since they're so wrapped up into each other. So you could even say the passage of time, is a constant, and it's not. It's only a constant here, given the variables that it's under here. And so, and that's hard. That's hard for people to understand. It's hard for people to wrestle with, right? Because we want assuredness. We want things to be, something that we can always count on. And when you find out very quickly is that it's not the case. It's just not the case with the universe. And I think that is not a bug, but a feature. Uh, that that it's if you want to give, if you want if you want free will to really have its way, right? Like if you're gonna get things to be able to choose whatever they want to and have an absolute freedom, then you have to have this ability to actually choose within systems. And so it's just part of the deal. Is that as much as we would like for things to be cut and dry, and to believe that there is such thing as solid matter, there's not. There's not. Your solid body and the chair that you're sitting in and the floor that you're standing on, is actually made up of a bunch of cells, and those cells are made up of a bunch of atoms, and those atoms are moving very, very fast. That the only reason that things stop each other is there's an interference field of where those atoms are pushing against each other. They're not actually touching; they're just pushing against each other. There's a resistance that's occurring, and so uh, crazy, right? Nothing that you want to be stable is stable, and so to stand on this idea that that you can somehow know and understand some absolute truth beyond a shadow of a doubt, is just it's both arrogant and ludicrous to me. It's silly. I think that people who think that they can know things definitely, just they prove very quickly that they don't know as much as they think they know. They and I say that with some assuredness, but then also, I try to point out where there's flaws in its thinking, in that there are variables that we do have some consistent trends and stuff like that. But what I'm pointing out is the bigger picture, of course, that there is no constantly throughout the universe. And some trolls will say, "Ah, I got you." Even that you can't say with certainty. And I'll be like, "You sure? You sure we're only listening to part of what I was saying? That's for sure." I have been kind of blown away and caught up in this idea recently, that was exposed to me. This idea of heuristics. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I wasn't. I mean, I'd heard the word before, and I kind of understood the concept in a different context, and not in the way that this person was breaking down. It was on a reel of some sort, so it was just a little bit of a video clip, that they were talking about this. But the idea of heuristics, of course, if you're in the know, and correct me if I'm wrong, down in the comments below. But the idea of heuristics is that, sorry, real focus here, is that the things that I say, and you can never understand anything that I say. Like you personally, no matter how smart you are, you can never understand anything that I say, and it's not because I'm smarter than you, or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, because there's not a one-to-one interaction between words and meaning, since our brains translate everything, and words are only based on the context that we have for those words. Right, a little bit tricky. Let me see if I can break that down in a way that makes a little bit more sense. So, if I say the word to you like hot dog, right? Your brain starts to pull up every example, or a generality of all the hot dogs you've ever seen. And then also any plays on words or any other connotations of hot dogs. And so when I say hot dog, I'm talking about the hot dogs in my experience, but what your brain is doing is translating that to all of your own experiences. And so um, if I start to talk about like the different types of hot dogs, like or this event, or I just generally refer to hot dog type behavior or whatever, um, then you're only hearing because your brain's only capable of hearing, and translating from your own experiences from there. Even though that you would think that hot dog is a very like concrete concept. It's not, right? There's a huge variety. There's a bunch of ways to top them. There's a whole bunch of ways to cook them. There's a whole bunch of different meats that can go in there, and uh, so heuristics is the understanding that, especially with larger concepts, or the more somebody will speak, that there's this like gap between what I say and what you can understand about what I say. And so that's really been tripping me up recently, and actually is making some things make sense. Like as I started, like one of the things that people that I've been running into a bunch is that people will be upset or offended by things that I say that I think are pretty banal. Just casually having stated them, and people have gotten offended by that, and I'm like, well, that's weird because those are not the words that I was using, and the more that I try to help make that clear, the more offended they become. And then this idea of heuristics kind of popped up, um, and that it's actually impossible. That actually kind of worked. That kind of worked for me. It's actually impossible for somebody to understand another person, um, because or completely understand another person because of this idea. The heuristically, there's a limit to how much they can understand your own experience, and simply because of the fact that there is this gap between um, you know the words that we have in common and the meaning that comes up because of them. And it made me a little sad, for one, but then because like I strive so hard to be clearly understood. That's one of the things that just with the way that my brain works, like I really desire to be understood, and I really believed that with effort it could happen, and then it kind of shattered that perspective is that it actually can't. That people, especially if they're dead set on misunderstanding me personally, but misunderstanding other people, or you holding on to their own point of view as hard as possible. There's a great quote. I've been passing it around because I love it so much. But it's this idea that smart people change their opinion often because they'll get new information and then they'll realize that they were wrong and they're okay with being wrong, so they'll switch it up. But stupid people will never change their point of view because they're so busy trying to defend their point of view. And so they're not really listening to the words you're saying. They're only trying to hear you enough to to bring a follow-up response that will protect their ego and what they understand. And so that made me sad because I was like, it's so terrible that we live in this place that it's really, I mean, every person is an island, a private universe unto themselves, and that no matter what we try to do to do that, we can only kind of bridge the gap between us and the person that we're communicating with. Um, and that was kind of the takeaway that I had. But then they concluded the video with this, which I thought was a cool way to conclude the video. But it was this idea that like don't be upset that people you can't be understood, and that there's no true community with language. But be glad that there are some people. There's a few people that you don't have to do that with. There's a community around you that you do develop a common language and you do understand what you mean. when you talk, and that that there are some people who can understand you. Um, and so that's kind of like the takeaway too, that I would like to leave with us on this idea is that not everybody's going to get you, not everyone's going to get me, but fortunately there are some people that once we spend time with them, that we develop a common language. And there's people who have similar ways of thinking to you, and so we have the ability to actually have some commonality there. Which I do appreciate that that's where they ended with that thought, um, because I don't know. I've mentioned here on the show, I've mentioned to my friends that I feel often like the whale who sings. I think they call it. They refer to this as the loneliest whale, because their pitch of their voice when they sing is beyond the hearing, is outside the range of most whales, and so while it's calling out to other people, all the other members of its species, they can't hear it, and so look at us guys. I think with that one little patch in right there, I think that we made it. I think we made it usable. I think we got it set. That's awesome. So we're gonna get to see this happen. I think I'm gonna use this piece right here. I think I'm gonna have her walk behind it so we can get that depth. Um, let's see what happens with this guy. He's in an awkward spot. I might need to replace him. Um, so yeah, so that is the case. Like it does feel like a lot of the times that I'm speaking a language, but then also like I ran into somebody recently. I think I shared with you that I did like a star chart reading with them, and found out that the reason that we have an easy time communicating with each other is because according to our star charts, we're like I don't know, like it's so similar that we should be best friends. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's really awesome. Like it is super easy to communicate. It just seems like the things that are important, the way that we see the world, they line up, and then there was a reason for it. Um, and so I was like, that's really fun. Like that's cool. So like that, that there are people, even though it's difficult, and it's hard to get along in a world that that doesn't necessarily understand you or understand me. There are enough similarities between some people, that it is possible. So um, it gave me I don't know if hope's the right word, but it gave me just like the ability to be like, okay, yeah, maybe it's not great. Maybe I struggle with most people, because that's how it seems, is that I do struggle with most people and being understood by most people. Um, and I was sharing this weekend too with my friends that it uh, it just I understand that that's the case, and mainly because I've had such a different life than most people. I have very very different experiences. Going to go study improv, in Chicago, changed my point of view quite a bit, and then I didn't stay with the improvisers as they did their things. I didn't stick around comedians as they did their things. I went out. I had to understand more about storycraft and why it was happening, and I had to live in strange places, that a lot of people haven't, and I don't value a lot of the things that people do, and I believe that it's worthwhile to make money, but I don't value it. You know what I mean? I don't think that that's like it's like the whole. I don't think it's the point. You know, like I think that you know if you chase after money but don't chase after the value of people and really living up to who you are as a person, then you're gonna miss the entire thing. And that's one of the things that I've done, is really trying to like understand thoroughly who I was, so that I could really a reach for that. And it's taken me a long time to do that. So, I don't hang out in like a religious community like a lot of people here do. I don't have the friends from college. Like I didn't spend time getting a degree in college. Um, again, I didn't hang out with the improvisers um, after a certain time. I didn't get in a comedy community. And so. Well, okay, that'll work. Um, I haven't had kids, so um, all these things that would give people like, a common language, I don't have with them. And so that makes me to a lot of people, it gives them a hard time to understand, you know, who it is where I am, and so that's why I don't blame them. Like I understand why I'm not easy. I'm not easy to understand. Like I get it, and so I just have to be patient with them, while they try to figure out who what my character is, and what it is that I bring to them and to their community, for that. Um, and it can be a little bit um, aggravating, and that's one of the reasons I was like mentioning, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, that I just like I feel like I was having difficulty with somebody, and I was having sort of like this anxiety that I'd have to start over again, because I'm just so tired of starting over again, um, and that's just that's why it can be a little bit like just the again and again and again, starting over again and again and again. And I'd really like to like get to a place soon, where I'm involved with a community that I don't have to like reintroduce myself and re-explain, and try to like you know um, gain their trust, and learn their language, and have them learn my language. Um, you know, so that was quite a tangent, wasn't it? But and it's really for that. It's really, I mean, it's that there's the gap between what people know about you and what they understand about you, and what is actually true, and how you actually are. It can be quite a big one, sometimes, and so that's where um, you know I would like to soon I would like to soon be a part of a community that already knows, and already trusts me, for what I can do and what I can bring to their community. And in a lot of ways, the compassion that I have for, I think there's something on my screen, maybe not. The compassion that I have for all the people who are around me. And I think that that's one of the things that is often missed, most often missed. I have a face, maybe you can see it. I have a face that I think people immediately don't trust, and that's because the vibe that I believe that I give off most times is that I'm just kind of indifferent, to everything. And that's in a really good way. I don't care what you do with yourself. I don't care how you're living your life. And so I feel like for the most part that's intended to give people freedom to be who they are. Um, but that casual indifference makes people uncomfortable, because then they don't know what my agenda is, because as far as they understand, and from their experiences, which I understand, um, everybody they've met has always had an agenda, and always needs them to be a certain type of way for them. And for the most part, that's not true with me. Now, like I did point out, like there, if you're going to behave rudely and thoughtlessly, you're gonna be hurtful to people who are around me, or including myself. and you're not taking personal responsibility for yourself, I am gonna step in and be like, hey, not here, you can't. And like I said, that does offend people who think that they should be able to get away with whatever they want to and treat people however they want to. Um, and so that's that's fine with me. And again, I don't care if you do those things, but you can't be hurtful to people who I care about, and I'm a person that I care about, and you can't just behave however you want to. Um, if you want to continue to be friends with me, and that's just the sort of respect that I give to you as a person, and then I expect in return. So, um, and I think that people who are abusive, even casually, they who think that they should be able to do whatever they want to, they do take offense to that, and that is their freedom to do that if they want to. Also, again, I'm sort of indifferent to how people behave, and what they do with their life, because you're welcome to do whatever you want to with it. So. But yeah, that's the long and the short of that, and so I think that does make it difficult for people to understand, because I don't think that a lot of people give that for one, to others. Oh, this is what we're listening to, by the way, in the hyper focus, and because there's always, it seems like everybody does seem to have their own agenda, and so. When I tell people, and I demonstrate to them that I don't much care about how they behave or what they do, and they're welcome to do anything that they would like. I think that it does often throw people. Um, we did get the Lunas. Look, we got Luna. So I'm gonna download these. Um, because people are used to being controlled, and or that there's always this like manipulation that's going on with people, to get other people to do what they want, and I think that doing that to people, to get them to do what you want, um, is intrusive on their free will, and uh, I would not do that again, with the one respect of, unless you're being abusive to the people who are around me. And really, it comes down to a bit of self-respect too. If you're not taking care of yourself in a way that's destructive to other people, is when I'd be like, yeah, uh, no, you can't be doing that, and not here anyway. So for which you will. But yeah, that was all to lead up. That was all the segue of like other people who were invited to come onto the show, versus people who were not invited to come onto the show. Hopefully that helps clear up any bit that you were wondering about, or if you're like, hey, I'd like to come and hang out. You have a few opportunities left, because we are quickly coming to the end of this portion of these podcasts, as here we are, getting. Ooh, I don't know if I like that. Here we are getting the. I think I'm gonna do it a different way. We have the set all together, and we're gonna be able to get the song laid in here. Um, One of the things I just realized is I wasn't expecting to get here, although I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case. Because I was gonna. I think thought I was gonna spend more time on that wall, than that solution. Um, let's do it like this. Wasn't exactly what I wanted either, but I kind of want us to see what happens here. Um, hmm. That's not really. But the thing that I forgot, yeah, that's kind of more what I'm looking for. is that no. Okay, let's not do that. Let's do like this. Um, yeah, so I need to get that song. I forgot that I don't have it um, on this computer. I think I have it on another hard drive or off the phone. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to do that. I think I'm gonna send it as a message. Yes, no, I hear you if you're the type of person who's like, why would you send it as a message? You know, you can connect it right to your computer that's right there, but like, there's a whole thing with okay with connecting this phone to an Apple. I don't know if you guys have worked with Apples, but or Macs rather, Apple products. They don't often like to share with each other. They don't like to be integrated with unless it's an Apple product, and it's just it's what it is. So the easiest way is probably to message it to myself. So I apologize if that offends you. For that purpose, that'll work. That'll give me a little bit of that blurry edge down there. Um, so. But yeah, this portion of the project's coming to an end, and then we'll see what happens. I'm gonna do some final touches. I'm gonna do some like real close looks at stringing it together, some updating of the sound effects that are going on, and then I'm going to try to make sure I get the sound really good, so it's not annoying to listen to on different devices, and so they can do it. And then we'll be doing a big push uh, to um, to get it in front of all the viewers. We're hoping the big push. We're hoping to get get uh, get the attention of a major studio. So if you are connected with anyone who is connected with a studio or part of one, that's definitely who we want to get in front of. You can also help us out by liking, commenting, and sharing as that video comes up. As you see it go on YouTube, that will help out. Get more views. Share it on your social medias. Tell your friends about this cool show that you've been catching, or that you see is coming together. We are trying to get the a major streaming platform is kind of what we're looking at. Network would be great as well. So if you're connected with any of those, and you know that they're looking for something that is both edgy and has a solid heart to it. That's the type of program that we are selling. We encourage you to let them know, and hopefully that will be for all of us a really positive thing. So. We would like to see Cox in Space really take off in the next couple of months, and be able to do this as a job full time, for our actors and for our writers and for the illustrators and animators that we're working with. This would be our job. So we appreciate the help in spreading the word about it. And give me 1 second. The camera's gonna get weird for a second. In fact, just gonna shut that off. It's gonna go black there, um, and I'm just gonna send this file to myself, and we'll pull it up here. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh geez, so many things. Looks like I've got it. I know you got the blues, I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep sadness, I know you got it down in your soul. You've been eating So there is the Kate singing that track. It's so great to for her to hear her singing that. Um, the She recorded that. Wow, the recordings that I have that are downloaded are from July 30th. So she recorded that a year ago. Um, and that actually, both July 13th is the earliest one that I have. Um, and that that's wild. So it was a year ago that we did that. And so it is nice to see this come together. The bit that you heard at the end was a mouth trumpet that Kate does as part of her act. She's a singer as well, and she goes out and does those. Um, and Be back with you right here. So I don't think we're going to use that bit. Also, I remembered, I think I'm going to use the shot from the next panel um, of the two cocks. So I think I'm going to do like a reverse so I could do some cheating with this set. Um, so I can either get her on stage or something like that. Um, but Yeah, yeah. Let me pull that up real quick. You can see all my private conversations here, so hopefully you'll enjoy that, and you can freeze frame and all that to if you need to figure out who who my friends are and whatnot. Um, but Let's see. It should have come to me right here. It did not. Hmm. Okay. Let me double check that. Sorry about this. Yes, I definitely should have done this off the show, and I thank you for indulging me. It looks like it is still sending that file. Um, there it goes. So, Let me get you set back up here. Right. So, yeah, that I'm gonna pull that up right here, and then we'll be good to go with that. Be able to start getting her to move and whatnot. Uh, Should be the one here, and ah, dang. Send it as a voice clip because it went as a wave, which means I'm gonna have to go about getting that in an obnoxious kind of way. So we're gonna do this and do this and get that. We'll have to record that into Premiere, which I think is gonna make me lose audio with you, but maybe not. Um, thank you for your patience as we do this uh, kind of annoying um, housekeeping. Uh, this is the joy of animating, and um, it's there. There's so many little things sometimes that can steal your joy in working with anything. Hang on one second. I think you. I'm gonna have to change this up real quick. So I'm gonna drop off here. Um, this you'll be able to hear me talking, I believe, but that might not be true. It's gonna let me record though. I don't know if that's true. Yeah. All right. Let's give this a shot.
I know you got the blues, I know you
work.
feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn out of a
Okay, you actually have to do it this way. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me still. Looks like maybe so, but that was probably really loud, so I'm going to try to make that adjustment here.
I know you got the blues, I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep sadness, I know you got it down in your soul. You've been eating your feelings right out of a hole. blues. I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep sadness. I know you got it down in your soul. You've been eating your feelings right out of the
All right, so that hopefully will get us back to so you can hear me. And I was recording, trying to record it low so it wasn't so obnoxiously loud.
I know you got the blues. I know you feel down, but you
Okay, the recording clearly created a staticky stutter with everything we got going on. Damn. Might need to download it in a different way.
I know you got the blues. I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep.
All right, that's not going to work. I'm going to send it to myself as an email and do it that way instead. Again, thank you for bearing with me as we go through this just kind of annoying housekeeping stuff that, really isn't the portion of animation that I was hoping to share with all y'all. But it is what it is. There's just so many little steps of putting things together, and so much unexpected, so many unexpected things you have to work with. That's really been kind of like the surprise for me as well, as I was working on things, is just the stuff that I didn't think that I was gonna do, that I wasn't gonna be responsible for, you know, that has become, kind of the stuff that you have to do in order to get things done. And so um, it is interesting. That's true in some ways with every part of the project. I mean, here, obviously it's I'm handling every part of this as it's an independent project currently, which is so that's gonna be a little bit different than how you're gonna be doing it when you're working on your own projects and whatnot. But with whatever project you're working on, whatever you're doing with it, there's always going to be a bunch of like little things that you have to do that you weren't really expecting to have to do. And things don't always work out the way that you would expect. So, um, and that I don't think that should be scary to you or throw you off course. You just know that that's going to be part of the course. There's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to do that you didn't expect, and that's kind of one of the things that I found out with kind of anything is if you're working on things in general, you find that there are a number of things that you have to do that you know maybe you didn't want to, but you know, so it is. So it is. Here's the actual. It sounds good. It's fairly loud.
I know you got the blues, I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep sadness, I know you got it down in your soul. You've been eating your feelings right out of a bowl.
So that is the amazing Kate Leo. Check her out. You can find her on most streaming platforms. She spells her name a little bit funny because it's Kate, short for Caitlin, I believe. So it's Cait, and Leo, not like the astrological sign, but Leow. Check her out there. She has such a lovely voice, and we are really glad to have met her and get to know her. So, um, and we're really excited to work with her, continuing in the future as Cox Space continues. So, because she's such a sweetheart too. She's a really nice lady. We've done a couple podcasts with her. If you want to check her out and listen to some of her expertise, she did a movie review with us. Actually, the I think it's the last one that's up. If you check out the Perspectives playlist, we did review two of her movies from one of her favorite directors, and then we did a couple of initial. I think we have one interview with her where she is hanging out with us while we make the song. There's one where we talk about her favorite parts of history, and I think there's this getting to know you type of interview. So maybe five of them all told. She's so much fun to hang out with, and she's so busy. It was so great of her to like take time out of her schedule to do that with us. So we are excited for getting to finally get this. And again, that was a year ago. I think that we did I think we did an interview with her. I think we did the movie interview with her of Christmas of last year, about 6 months ago. And she was in our Christmas special too. So if you want to check her out, and there she was one of the actresses in our Christmas special. So a non-Cox related project, non-Cox's Space related project, but another perspective show. As Aaron and I co-wrote that one as well. So uh, now we're finally getting to the point we'll be able to get this shot all done. So we're not going to use. I think I mentioned that we're not going to use the whole thing um, because we don't need the tail end of her doing the mouth trumpet. Um, and I don't know if we have a good way to do that, but we do need the verse in there. And this shot is only supposed to be 30 seconds too, so I think we have a few seconds left over from the previous one. I think we have it to here maybe. Let me see what 30 seconds is.
Right out of a bowl.
Yeah, so it's right about there. She did give us a riff on the end, that extra mouth trumpet. So that's, hidden gem for everyone who has, hung out with us, has been on our Discord, who is watching this episode. You get to hear all that mouth trumpet. But that's kind of about where we're gonna be there. It's gonna fade out there. Um, as you all know, don't do it, buddy. Guy's hunting the computer cable again, and he wants to chew on it because he wants to sabotage the Cox in space. You know, as most people, most people do. I'm sorry, I sounded like one of those paranoid narcissists. Everybody's out to get me. I'm the victim all the time. You know. Uh, but no, I don't know why he doesn't. He's not out to get me. Obviously, he's just doing his thing where he's a cat, and it's he's a destructive male cat, and he wants to tear everything up, as you would. So, um, I think I'm gonna start this shot hard left and have her cross over here. One of the things I want to do is I want to cut over to the Cox who are going to be over here, um, so we can see that they're in the crowd and see her singing, and then have her doing the bending over, talking to him, and then somehow cut back maybe, and so that we can get her out of that position again and have her saunter over. Um, but I'm not positive because I don't want to do a move where she pops over. I don't really like the idea of that. Like it doesn't seem true to the movement where she switches from one position to another. But also, I don't want to. I don't want to lose. I think that her leaning over this table is one of the coolest the like body types that Jack did, and so I do want that. But I also need her coming out of this door, standing up, and then crossing, standing up. So I might do two cutbacks, but I only have one expression. So, um, you know what? I think I jumped the gun a little bit because there's a couple of things I need, and we're gonna do that here. Uh, so we're gonna pull this up. This set's done. Really glad to have finished that. Guys, I know it's been a while you've been watching me work on that set, so thank you for sticking around. Watch me do all the little ins and outs for that. This is what we're gonna be doing to get her here. I really want to use this version of Luna. This one is more fun. Let's see if I can just take that background off. Cool. Okay. I think this is the best the view that we have of her. So I want to use her like this. Although he has her standing on a platform, as you see, her foot is raised up on something. Um, but I think I'm going to just do the upper part of her body as she walks. So that will give us this. And if you look at her face, say for instance, in like just the way that she looks in this one versus all the other Lunas that we have, this is the most like detailed, and really I think in a lot of ways this is the best Luna that we have. None of the other ones have claws, for instance, and so I'm a big fan of this look. I think this is going to be easier to get her to sing with, while the other ones don't. And then also those other ones have some odd postures. I think there's some over the head, hands over the head, body move like postures and stuff like that. And so I don't think it works as well for trying to get her to move. This one I feel like we can get her to move. And I think with the way that her arms are, I can get them to be more like they can have some movement to them, maybe. Anyway. Um, this is yeah. So this is one I think in a previous couple of episode, a couple of anyway, one that was back a couple episodes. I was mentioning that we didn't have this, and Jack was nice enough to send it over. Um, that it wasn't part of like the other the ones we had tucked in the other file, because he was just posting finished pages up there, and then some of the original drawings of Peter and Richard. I think this one is lacking like shadows or something, so that is going to be a little bit. They're like less detailed than the ones that we've got, but do this. And then we're going to show hide all of these. Because it's got all that shadow and glitter and all that, but But it's now it's just that. So yeah, her body posture is weird. Like she's got this really extra long leg. Maybe if I take out that foot, then it won't look so weird. I think that if I can do this, and then I think this drawing was based off something else, and maybe if I look, we'll find that it's here. Yeah, it's based off of this girl, this flapper girl who's doing this dance. Um, but yeah, he really did exaggerate this right here. So I'm gonna take this foot out, and then we're gonna assume that it's right here instead, and that kind of puts her on the same level. Um, oh wow, the resolution on this is real high, which is good. I mean, we could always do a print of Luna. If you guys are interested, comment below if you'd like to get a print of her, like on a shirt or whatever. Um, because yeah, this is the original Luna drawing, the character drawing of her. Jack was nice enough for when we were doing the project to throw in some character drawings uh, as part of the cost of doing the pages, so no extra cost to do it. And we appreciate him doing that. We have used the Cox and Space, the two Cox brothers drawings. Actually, they're up on our Wigwags right now. They're our main Wigwags icon. That's from the two character drawings that he did of them. That's nice. That actually hides that foot and makes her look like she's more on the level there. Give this a little bit more of a skew like this. And there we go. I think I'm going to use her like that. That's going to be our Luna. Okay, that should be the one that we do, although it is going to be flipped. I should probably do that. Although, yeah, that's fine. We'll do it like that. And then I'm going to do this. No, actually, I want to do this guy. So we're going to cut to these Richards. Um, which are here actually, if I remember right, in this following panel. I know we have page 5. I wonder if oh no, I'm just looking at the wrong one. I think this is it. Yeah, I want to take this, like I want to cut back so that we see them here and we get this portion of the shot, um, so that we can do like a reverse, so that I can come back to it, come back to her movement. You guys, you see the transformation that she goes through, where she is both the show cat and she is also a veterinarian. Um, this is her main outfit actually. This red dress, she comes out in it and she presents in it, but it's actually not the one that she spends the rest of the show in. She's going to be dressed as this veterinarian for the rest of the show. So a little bit of a tease for you. Uh, Aaron's Aaron's interpretation or concept for Luna is really interesting, and I do love her as a character because he wanted to make sure that she was complex, that she's not, you know, the vixen or whatever, um, and one notey like that. Actually, what we find out is that Luna has studied a variety of things, and she is really a jack of a lot of trades, and she has mastery of a lot of them as well. Um, but she actually has like her veterinarian license. So I don't know if I'm gonna need to cut anything else out from this. I think what I want to do is just cut to this shot, so that we see them looking at it. Um, I do need to make all of this more dim, and I do need to take her out right here. Although I think I'm going to do a fairly tight shot. So what I want to do is this, and I'm not sure how. Okay, this I think this is what we're going to do. Because it's just going to be like cutting back, um, so that we can see that it is the Cox who are seeing, um, this her sing this song, that they're in the bar, so that we get the tie-in between the two, why we saw the cat singing, and then, um, how the Cox got here, or like how the Cox are tied in, because this is going to be the final shot for this sequence. They have the Cox in space theme. It starts off this sequence that we worked on, and then, it's going to be Luna Song is going to close out this clip, of the episode, and so, I want to make sure that people go, wait, what happened? They don't go, wait, what happened? To the two roosters, and we find that the roosters have gone to this club, um, in the Fat Cat Lounge. Um, I think that in traditional film language, you're supposed to do an establishing shot, so we get that they're there, or that is, and not just cut to it. I think that it's fine to do that. I think that the audiences are savvy enough to be like, different location, doesn't need an establishing shot. But comment below. Maybe I'm wrong. Uh, you know, uh, these are things that I believe to be true, that may or may not be, depending. So yeah, you're always welcome to comment below if you are able and interested. So because I mean, I really do enjoy input from other people. It's one of the things that helps me learn more about the world around me, is hearing other people's thoughts and opinions. Um, I won't necessarily agree with your thoughts or opinions, but it is worthwhile to hear them, at least that you get somebody else's impression. With the conversation that we're having about heuristics, that feedback helps me understand whether or not you understand. Um, and some people will hear me say whether or not you're right or wrong, and I don't really believe. Like I said, I don't. There's being right and being wrong is such an abstract concept to me. It doesn't even make sense, because most times right and wrong depends on what the circumstances are and what the goals are, right? And so a lot of what I base things off is not right or wrong, so it doesn't hit this idea of morality at all. It's just useful and not useful ideas. Um, so, you know, that because that's really what's going to make the difference, is like whether you can use an idea or not, right? Like, it doesn't make a difference to me whether or not you are correct or are not correct about your thoughts and opinions, or the way that you see the world or anything like that. That doesn't make a big difference to me at all. But it's whether or not I can use that information and what I can use it for. Um, you know, is what's gonna be the big difference for me. Um, because sometimes you can use things, use an idea that even if it's incorrect, you can use it as a metaphor, or you can use it as an example, or just further understanding of where people are coming from. Um, so, uh, you know, and people, I have had people be upset about that with me about that, because they'll say, well, some things are right and some things are wrong, and some things are moral and not moral. Some things are factual and not factual. And I'm like, yeah, but like, for me, it like makes very little difference, unless it's necessary to be factual or not factual. Like, if you are an engineer, make sure that your calculations are correct. That's kind of a big deal. That's kind of like you need to make sure that things are going to hold up under force. That you're going to get your materials correct. In how many you need. That all that sort of stuff. Like, and that does matter. But so much more of the human experience is just it's not necessary to establish who is right and who is wrong. Especially if you're beginning to see things in a much bigger way of like, are things metaphorically correct? Can you use that knowledge in different ways? So um, that's just where I come from with it. And a lot of different signs. I'm a Gemini, so I see things in shades of gray. That's my big thing. But a lot of signs they don't like to see things that way. Aries, for instance, likes to know who has the correct opinion. Virgo wants to know what is the correct information and only the correct information. They want their opinions to be correct and nobody else. Um, and so um, yeah, there's different reasons to need and want stuff like that. I'm not negating that experience that people have. I'm just saying that it's not useful for me, and I care less about that. Um, Especially since a lot of what I do is creative work. Um, you know, Being able to be more flexible in the way that I view things and how things can be used and how things can be used as metaphor, even if they're not factual. And how even when somebody is lying to you, they're telling you the truth in some way, and they're always telling you the truth about themselves, especially when they're lying. Is really really useful information to know. And how they lie about things is more important than what they're lying about. For me. So that again, that's me. That's where I come from with that. That you know, there's just the pursuit of truth with a capital T actually goes into a lot of things that are maybe untrue in the factual sense sometimes, because the world of the human mind isn't as much caught up in facts, I've noticed, as much as they are caught up with symbols and the underlying truth of the symbolism of things. And so, again, for me, finding that truth is often more significant than finding the factual truth. And this kind of relates to the conversation I was having this weekend about worshiping the text of a religious book versus recognizing what the authors were getting at and what experience they were trying to lead you to, with the greater the big being that is. So okay, I'm gonna pull that guy forward and then I'm gonna darken everything behind that. Just bring it all down like that so that these guys stand out a little bit more. Maybe I should have feathered that a little bit. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna feather it just a little bit. But just a little bit. I don't need, yeah, a whole bunch. Just so that it's like not so like glaring, right? Let's do this and then do this. Now, I don't think they're gonna move. I think I'm just gonna cut back and then have them like, like standing in the light also. Um, Something like that. Although I think this one needs to come down a little bit more too. Like, it needs to be like that, and this needs to be like half of that. Something like that. So they're also in the shadow, but they're like, Yeah, something like that. So they're not like in the light, right? But they're like hidden, that they're like prominent in that. And we can see all the cats there. Okay, okay. And I kind of like what we got going on here. I think I'm going to adjust this up just a little bit. Just a teensy bit. There we go. Maybe just a teensy bit more. Not yet, buddy. Okay. So that they're like just more prominent from the background. Um, we'll do this. And then yeah, so we can do like a reverse shot um, that cuts to the cock so that we can have her go to the table, and then I don't know how we're gonna get her out because I only have this one shot. Um, but but maybe I'll do something like reverse it. Like I'll do the reverse where we see their backs and then she'll walk into that frame. Maybe that's where we'll cut it at. We'll do like she's singing at the table. I'm gonna play with it. But this is why I'm grateful that I get to work with things digitally and not storyboard them all. Um, because I don't often I'm not able to see them. Not often able to see them. It's the thing that I need until I start playing with it. And that's what you saw, as I was playing with the beat shots in the last bunch of episodes, that set off this sequence. Um, is that this is really good for me for storyboarding to be able to do it this way, because it's helping me set up like how it was. Like you saw me. Oh. Yeah, okay. You saw me do stuff like I was like, oh shoot, I need to reverse this entire sequence so it works better. You know what I mean? Like that was like, one of those things that just, like working out how it was supposed to work. That's way too long of an intro.
I know you got.
Okay, so it's probably gonna be.
I know.
Hmm. But that. I think it's this one. It's the minor key fade in. I don't know if that was the correct thing to say, if it isn't actually a minor key fade in, but that's what it sounds like. It's gonna fade here.
I know you got the blues. I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep sadness.
I don't know if I can.
I know you got the blues.
It's 8 seconds to get up to that point. Just seems like such a long time to wait. And maybe I'll tie it in from the previous shot. Like we'll hear the piano start from the previous shot. Are you shooting blanks? Dun 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 dun. As we do like a fade over to it. Um, and maybe that's where it would be good to have an establishing shot of, the Kit Kat Lounge. But she's first time
I
cute.
know you got the blues.
Maybe I'll do like a slow pan down Yeah, maybe that's how it'll be. Okay, so that means that this set piece needs to be need to do it like this, so that can be faded, and then this will just be the setup shot. We'll do like a slow fade down as she comes in over 8 seconds. Although again, we'll have to do a fade in from the other one, so maybe we'll get 2 seconds, but this 6 seconds is gonna be it's gonna be fade this travel anyway. Um, we do need to import kitties, the kitty shadows. We want to get these reverse shots too. And then we're going to have these guys in there, so those won't be a surprise. And I want to get this one in here. So we want to get these guys set up because we definitely want to get that there's a crowd of cats here. Buddy, it's not time yet. I don't know if you guys are hearing the orange boy, but he's being insistent that it is time for him to eat. But they're not eating for like another hour. Uh-huh. And then I'm going to want to layer them a couple of different ways so that we can create more of a crowd. Because he did a nice job of putting the foreground crowd in, but I really want it to be like more. We don't have the backs of them though. And I'm only using this half, so I can double them up. Okay, so I'm going to do it like this. Hopefully this will work without looking too like repeated. I'm just trying to create more depth, you know, like that there's another set of cats with them. You know, the crowd is deep, basically, is the idea. Um, so maybe if we do this, and then we're gonna do this. So that, yeah, more like that. Okay, this is gonna be right here. So that song was written by Aaron Cosbeil. Um, the tune was, and the it was composed by Chandler Fleming, a friend of ours, and then sung by Kate Leo. But the thing that I love about Aaron's songs, and this is true about all of his songs, is he's really, really good at writing like earworms. Um, so you know, I'll hear that track and then be like, ba ba do 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 do, you know, and that is why, you know, it's been my alarm for a year now since we composed it, or you know we had it done. Um, is because it's like it's a catchy song. Move these guys down a little bit. Uh, really trying to get these cats to line up. Okay, so we can do that. I need them just to be like that. Um, there we go. It's kind of more cat crowd like. This obviously needs to be cleaned up, although that's not in the shot. So, and that one too. So, I wonder if I can. maybe more like that. And then I think I'm gonna have to add some like um, more here. Yeah, I just need to add more to the bottom. Yeah, because obviously there's no cat down there because there's no rest of their head. But you know, I don't know if we're gonna even see that bit. But okay, those cats are exactly the same. So let's line these guys up. One of the things that was bothering me was this tall cat was in front of all the other cats, and I thought that that was rude. And it's whatever. But yeah, so I do need to add some more shadows down here on this one. Looks like. Um, so let me do that real quick. Let me make sure I'm opening the right one, and we're gonna do that. So we're just gonna um, extend this frame down. Maybe an extra, I don't know, like 2 inches or something. Not even that much, a little half inch or whatever. Hopefully that will give us, I'm just going to try to color it in so it's dark. But yeah, yeah, that works. And then this same color here. This right here, I didn't think about. I gotta take some of that out to and do it like this. I think that's the right one. And then I'm gonna do a little bit of like cleanup, so it's just like ish. You know what I mean? Like I just think that it needs to have some dark, like shadowy bit in there. I don't think it needs to specifically look at like anything. Although we'll see, I might be wrong. And again, the way that we do this shot, it's just a panning shot so we can see like the ears and everything. And I just, maybe that's gonna be. I probably shouldn't have done it on this exact same panel. Let's do it on a new one that is in fact below that. So we can just erase this real quick. But yeah, so yeah, Aaron, Aaron is fantastic as far as writing earworms, and so the song, it'll kind of stick with you if you're listening to it. You've heard it here a couple of times now. I think you're gonna be like, dun dun dun, you know. And so it is really funny because he played a tuba, I think, in high school, and so he has some exposure to music, but he doesn't compose music. He just hears songs and then he comes up with lyrics for them. So um, good for him, right? To be able to do that. And but yeah, they're always really catchy. All the ones that are in the show are really catchy songs. And so it would be great if you had, a composer friend, if we found someone who would compose with them, like a Danny Elfman or whatever, to Tim Burton's musical ability, to kind of like fill in that sound, because there's a bunch of songs in the show, and I know that there's gonna be a bunch more because he loves he loves the idea of musicals so much. I think I'm gonna shift this color down. Um, so there's gonna be more is what I'm saying is there's gonna be more songs too, and I can't keep up with them because first of all it's not my forte. Second of all, I don't. It's not my passion. Um, I can like help with the story concepts in it, but beyond that, not a whole lot. Um, so do that, see how that affects it. It gives them a little bit like that. That's fine. That's kind of fine actually. And then that's going to give me a little bit more freedom to move these guys around. And they, not worried about. No, something like that, baby. So they're all, we got a bunch of cats in that shot, and then oh, okay. So yeah, we're coming up on about the end of the show here. I guess we have about 15 more minutes or so. So thank you for joining us so far on this podcast for Cox and Space. I hope that you are as excited as I am to see this portion of the project finally coming to a conclusion. As we're getting Luna finally in on her set. So uh, it shouldn't be too much longer. It really is just animating the way that the camera moves and then how we're gonna cut in that and then her mouth movement and walking and stuff. So this one is not as technically difficult as some of the other ones have been. So I imagine it'll be a couple more weeks, and then I'll be working on kind of finalizing this whole sequence audio wise and visually. So we should be looking to have this whole thing up and running out to the general population in a couple more weeks. Definitely by the end of July, beginning of August, like we were shooting for. So um, that was the hope and the goal. So, oh geez, I'm gonna go and clean up some of this purple while we're here. Um, so yeah, that's really exciting to have set a goal and then getting ready to achieve it. That's one of the things I enjoy. A lot of people are afraid to set goals because they don't know if they can achieve them or not, and then they feel bad when they don't. Uh, you know, and for me, that's not a big deal. I don't think that there's anything wrong with missing a goal as long as you continue to strive towards it and don't give up and then set to achieve even if you passed the deadline that you were looking for. But one of the cool things about setting goals is reaching them. If you decide to kind of like aimlessly drift from one project to another, then you don't get that sense of achievement from doing those things. And some people also would be like, well, if I set a goal, it doesn't mean anything because I just set it for myself, and they don't hold themselves accountable in that way. And so they also don't get the sense of achievement because they're like, well, if I give up on a project, I've given up only on myself. And I'd say you're missing you're missing the great joy of challenging yourself and then doing the things that you said that you're going to do. If you do that, um, you know, and people will be like, well, another thing they'll be like, well, I don't get any reward, from it because there's no external, validation. And I would argue that you're like having respect for yourself that you both set out to achieve a goal and then you did it really should be its own reward because then you have respect for yourself. But I'm not all people, so I don't know how all people should behave. I'm just telling you, for me, what a great joy it is to decide to do something, set out the method of the of possible achievement, strive towards the thing that I want, and then get the thing that I want. Um, you know, what happens after that oftentimes doesn't matter matter to me. What happens after I achieve what I want it doesn't quite make a difference, because anything will happen, anything could happen after that. The world is responsible for its own responses towards things, and things turn cockeyed and turn sideways. You get something sometimes, and you realize it's not exactly what you want. Or it's not, while it was the thing that you were looking at, once you get there you realize that it's not all the things that you thought it was. And that's okay. Then you just do something else. You set your eyes on another goal and continue working towards that. But just the getting, planning and achieving, to me, is really such a rush. And so that's why, like, I desire to work creatively on things, because it allows you to set your own goals, in a lot of ways, and then achieve things that um, aren't necessarily, people don't have necessarily the metrics for it. The creation of something that people couldn't have conceived previous to that, and that's why I enjoy working on creative projects, is to have that rush of, both the creation, both the plan, and the execution, of an idea. Um, and I just, to me, it's one of the most fulfilling things in the world, to decide that you're going to do something, in the face of all logic and reason sometimes, and then achieve it. So, that's for me. Setting off to do Cox in space, in and of itself, regardless of what happens next, we have got this portion that we plan to get done, and we've got it animated so that the people can see it. We got a song. We got two songs that we enjoy hearing, and we have the characters singing them. So we first have the Cox theme song, and we can see Peter and Richard singing it, and the planet, the Pecker arriving at Pussy Paradise, in the opening of this second sequence, and then also we get the Luna's song, which we set out a year ago. We set up a year ago to be able to do, and now we're getting to see that come together too. And I just, to me, that is the reward in so many ways. And then what comes next, we'll see. We'll see what happens. What comes next. But just having achieved this first preliminary goal, after deciding to do it, is really, really exciting. And so I'm excited in the next couple of weeks to see this whole sequence come together, make it presentable to the world so other people can see it, and then we get to see the response to it as well. So, I've been really excited to have you along for the journey, so that you can see the process of this, that you've been able to check out, Jack's work, as he's been drawing it, and just the excitement that we had, as we recorded with Chandler, because we documented all of that, while we were doing it. So, again, you get to be along with that journey. Check it out if you haven't, because it is really fun. I mean, we have really enjoyed the process as much as the end result, of this project, and I think we will continue doing that too. Um, I'm getting together with Aaron tonight, on our Discord, and we're going to be working through Aaron and Logan, actually, and we're going to be working through episode 5. And, like, that part of the process of just being able to get together and work out what happens next with the Cox, um, you know, is so rewarding. It is its own reward just to develop it. So, that's why I encourage you, wherever you are, to continue working on your projects as well, to continue to to find the joy that exists in being able to, decide that you want to do something and then really really get it done. So, um, yeah, there we go. That's gonna clean up that a little bit, and then we're gonna see these here. Has that cleaned up? Nice. And then we're gonna see her pop in. such a long intro. It's just so long. I don't know what we're gonna do about that. It's just so long. All right. Here, let's get the Luna. Wait, I thought no. Looks like not. Um, I thought I imported this already. I guess not. But actually, yeah, that Luna is huge. And he really did make it so that it was so that it can be printable, which is nice. Working with Jack, he does know about that sort of thing. I need to do a flip here. Still confusing the two of those, both horizontal and vertical flips. Um, and I'm gonna have to do her as a different layer, and so I can animate her mouth. But uh, here we go. Hmm. I need to flip her entire head also. Okay, I'll do that separate. But yeah, it needs to be looking that direction as she's moving forward. I do like that Luna is a little bit chunky, as you see. She is a lounge singer, but she's got a belly on her too. I think that's really cute for her. Cats, right? Like whoops. They still got that belly on them. Even when they're in good shape and whatnot. Uh, so let's make sure she's not too big. She should be about that height, and she's gonna be something like that. So, yeah, this is really rough right now. This is really rough. But yeah, that's kind of, and then she'll get a little bit bigger. She approaches here, then we'll cut back to the reverse, and she'll sing, "Eating Your Feelings."
I know you got the blues, I know you feel down, but you wanna keep your chin up, kid, so turn it around. I know you got that deep
Right there.
sadness, I know you got it down in your soul. You've been eating your feelings right out of a bowl.
Okay, so that's kind of the idea. We're gonna fade out on that though. Uh, and also this, but let's take this. I want to open up the lounge shot. I have forgotten how. Okay, it is open. Oh, right. I need to use that. Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I do really appreciate you for being here. This has been a Cox and Space behind the scenes podcast where we work on the animation for Cox and Space. Uh, and if you want to find out more about what we're doing, you can go to coxinspace.com. That's coxinspace.com. And check out the first clip that we've got up there. Become a donor by clicking on joining the crew. You can join our Patreon as we move forward. Uh, yeah, reach out to us if you would like to like, comment, share, and subscribe to these. And we're really glad to have you. So thank you so much for being a part of this project and this process. As we have as we've witnessed just the beginning of something new, and the Cox in space for 1,000 years. Uh, so again, thank you for being here, and we're gonna do more of this. You're gonna see me again in the next couple of days as we're getting close to getting this finished. But thank you again, and I'm Skip Marazi, your host and friend, and I will see you in the